Want to welcome everyone to this call meeting this afternoon, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, other members of the commission. We just have one item on today's agenda. This is docket number 2017-370E, and the staff presents for commission consideration the petition to intervene out of time filed on behalf of Transcontinental Gas Pipeline Company, LLC.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Elam.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the intervention of Transcontinental Pipeline Company. Since Dominion Energy provides competing interstate pipeline services, Transco's contracts might well be subject to adverse effects as a consequence of the proposed merger, I'm starting to lose my voice, and result in higher prices for SCEG's customers. In this proceeding, I consider it appropriate for the Commission to have the opportunity to explore the nature and degree of Dominion's potential control after the merger, if approved, over SCEG's distribution and transmission systems and SCEG supply decisions. Should there be the possibility of adverse effects on Transco and SCEG's customers, I feel it would be better for the Commission to learn of them in this proceeding rather than later, and to impose proper safeguards in advance rather than seek remedies or redress after adverse effects have occurred. Further, I think it is in the public interest that matters of this magnitude, which affects so many citizens of the state of South Carolina in such a significant way, be afforded the benefit of this Commission's broad discretion to allow intervention. The uniqueness and importance of the litigation in this combined docket is difficult to overstate. Similarly, the importance of ensuring full and robust due process for all stakeholders in such a proceeding is impossible to overstate. There are several metrics that instruct us as to what should constitute the minimum required qualifications for standing. The arguments made in opposition to allowing Transco to intervene have some merit. However, as recognized by the Office of Regulatory Staff in oral arguments, Transco has a unique interest which may not otherwise be wholly and properly represented during the proceeding. As such, I am not compelled to disallow intervention of such a party. In short, Mr. Chairman, I think Transco ought to be allowed to represent its interests before us. In doing so, I think this Commission will have access to a unique source of information and perspective that might otherwise be absent. Once again, for the proceeding of this nature, the Commission must have access to as much relevant information as possible in order to make the most proper and judicially sound decisions. However, there is the issue of the lateness of Transco's request for intervention, which, in spite of inquiries by this Commission, was never adequately explained, nor was the initial vagueness of Transco regarding its stated interest in the proceedings, which required this Commission to provide the company with several opportunities to explain itself beyond its initial sparsely explained petition. The opportunity to provide Transco's perspective must not become a stumbling block to due process for all the other parties in this litigation, especially given the statutory instruction this Commission has received regarding the compressed time frame for hearing, decision, and order. Mr. Chairman, it is important that all parties in these proceedings be afforded a fair and equitable position from which to litigate their case. In consideration of that, I would move that the procedural schedule not be altered to give Transco additional time to prepare discovery beyond that currently allowed in the procedural schedule, nor should additional time be allowed for its preparation of pre-filed testimony and exhibits beyond that which is currently allowed. The granting of Transco's untimely intervention request is not designed or intended to, nor shall it, create an undue burden upon existing parties to this litigation. This is a limited opportunity to provide useful information and perspective in furtherance of due process, and the expectation is that discovery will be conducted efficiently and expediently. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Elam's motion. Are there questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, as Commissioner Elam said in his motion, the merits of not allowing Transco to intervene were certainly with merit, as he stated in his motion. However, I do want to thank all the parties and staff for scheduling oral arguments yesterday And after hearing those oral arguments, I am going to support Commissioner Elam's motion and allow Transco to intervene.
Mr. Irvin.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I consider it appropriate as well for the commission to have the opportunity to explore the nature and degree of Dominion's potential control after a merger, if one is approved, over SC&G's distribution and transmission systems and SC&G's supply decisions. It seems that there could be a possibility of adverse effects on South Carolina ratepayers, and I feel it would be in the best interest of the ratepayers of South Carolina and the state as a whole to learn of these concerns during this proceeding rather than finding out when it's too late to take action. We also should consider whether or not to impose proper safeguards in advance rather than seek remedies or redresses after adverse effects have occurred. And for those reasons, I also support the motion to allow Transco to intervene.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's interesting that respondents' petition to this commission regarding approval of merger asked in their request for relief, subparagraph B, that the commission find alternatively, that is, find that the merger is in the public interest, or there is an absence of harm to South Carolina ratepayers as a result of the merger. What I found interesting in yesterday's oral arguments is that Transco's counsel related their interest to the ratepayers' interest. And what I found additionally interesting to that is that the Office of Regulatory Staff, who is charged with protecting South Carolina ratepayers, supports allowing Transco to intervene because of their unique position to ask questions regarding how this merger could potentially impact ratepayers. Because of a case of this magnitude, out of abundance of caution, protecting South Carolina ratepayers, I support Commissioner Elam's motion.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you. If there's nothing else to come before the commission this afternoon, we are adjourned.